Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're doing another series of mental health awareness interviews. And before we get started, as I always do, I'd like to share a little about myself. I'm not doing this for any gain, I'm not doing it in vain. I just know what it's like to live with a lived experience. And for a long time, I personally felt like I was alone. I felt like I was losing my mind, going crazy. I didn't know what was going on. And now that I am in recovery, I do what I do to kind of be a light for other people. And I have a special guest here, Joe. Joe, would you care to introduce yourself and like what's your
Yes.
title?
Joe. My name is Joe. My title is Joe. Um, Joe Kavika Uluko Vieira, native Hawaiian from Hawaii, moved to Kansas City about 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. Oh my God. Um, I'm a streamer, which is kind of weird saying that I'm a 42-year-old grown ass man streamer, um, teenage boy, living in the shadows. But yes, I'm a streamer, a video game streamer on Facebook. I go by the name Joe Tato Gaming. I have no idea where it came from, but it fits. But yeah, no, yeah, that's me in a nutshell right now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think how we came across was another streamer's platform.
Yep.
So it's a
Mhm.
whole community in itself and an amazing community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you tell us 5 things that you would like us to know about yourself?
Oh, 5 things. Just 5 things? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, 30 minutes. I am again native Hawaiian. Um um I like tacos, I guess.
Nice.
Um I had a passion. One of my passions was to help the youth, you know. And fortunately I was able to fulfill that. Um Having a volleyball club for 8 years, junior volleyball club. Unfortunately now not doing it right now, but um that's 3 things, I guess. The other two
Yes.
is I like video games now. I'm still not very good at them, but I like it. And um happily married, I guess. I
Yes.
really
That's
can't think of
awesome.
anything else.
Those are the best things. I've learned something new about you today. Wow. Thank you. All right. We're going to dive right into the mental health questions. And as I say to everybody else, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just picking your brain, and maybe your answers might be relatable to other people more than they would relate to me. Who knows? So let's do this. So, what do you think that mental health is?
That's funny. I never really heard the term mental health until, if I'm being honest, until COVID, until
Mm,
after COVID. So I mean, I have an idea of what it is. My words would probably be emotional well-being, or yeah, your emotional well-being. So uh as far as definition goes, I mean, that's a hard thing to answer to. Being where I'm from, growing up in the 80s, we never really heard about that kind of stuff. It's rub dirt on it, get up and move on.
right.
um, but one thing I did learn here recently was growing up how we have, um, they were building our mental toughness as far as our keeping our mental health stable, I'm assuming, because we never really had to really think much about it.
Yeah.
So I'm still fairly new to this whole mental health game definition and all that stuff, but I think I do have a slight understanding of it.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, can't go wrong with that. You're just
Yeah,
being honest, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, with your answer on mental health, and here's another question regarding that. Do you think mental health is important and why?
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing, I mean, I don't even know how to answer the why part, but one thing I noticed was, when I was coaching, and when I had the volleyball club, we had 300 some odd kids. Um, and
Wow.
it was all girls. boys are, I mean, I don't want to say boys are easier, but girls are, emotionally it's a little more delicate, I guess, in certain situations.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could put it. But I vividly remember operating. um my sole purpose was to make sure emotionally the girls were stable. If they were stable enough, they could pick up on things that we're trying to throw at them, and they'd get better. And after a few years of doing and operating that way, I got a lot of compliments from parents saying that, not only have you helped our kids on the physical aspect for volleyball wise, my kid is now meeting new people. She's going out with friends. She actually has friends now. Uh, there's one case, I'm not going to mention her name, but she was very shy, overweight, and she constantly got picked on. She was homeschooled for about 4 years, but after the after 3 years of playing volleyball with our club and meeting new people and working with us, um, she decided she wanted to go back to public school and thrive. She has a whole group of friends, graduated, she's going to college, she's in a sorority, and
Wow.
and I think all of that plays back into the why mental health is important. I can't explain why, but then that's kind of like the physical, like the gift, as far as this is what happens when we get things working.
Yeah, you were the word that or the phrase that you used was you made sure that the girls were emotionally stable.
Yeah, yeah,
And that is something that we don't talk about much lately
sure.
or hardly anymore. Mental health, yes, but there's
Hmm.
also emotional health as well. And they actually go hand in hand.
Sure.
And some people have like a cognitive, like a connective delay or a lack of, and they struggle
Hmm.
with that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. All right. So I worded this question the wrong way. Do you think that mental health is common? I would like to actually say, do you think that mental illness is common?
Again, before COVID, I'd say no, but yeah, yeah, I do. I never would have considered um myself as being, I don't want to say a victim, but um a statistic. Um
Yeah.
and I've come to the realization that I am, because of losing the volleyball club. I lost the volleyball club because of COVID. First and foremost, we had to shut
Ouch.
down because everything shut down. And unfortunately, I was not able to get the club up and running again. Then fell into some health things and then stuck in this wheelchair for 2 years. Um, so being trapped in this, I love my house, don't get me wrong, but it feels like prison. It feels like
Yes.
prison in here. These walls are getting much closer, smaller. Um, uh, Speaking to the wife, we've definitely come to the realization that, yeah, I'm definitely going through some things. So and I consider myself a pretty strong, independent individual. So if it can happen to me, it can most definitely happen to anyone. So my
Right.
answer
Thank
is
you.
yes.
Thank you for sharing that answer. That was great. I know I've learned over the years that anything can trigger a mental health decline. And a good example would be like cancer.
Hmm.
That is so devastating for somebody to go through. And it's almost like it's trauma to them. And trauma can rewire your brain
Sure.
and cause depression and things like that. I'm no doctor, I'm no professional. That's just my understanding and my interpretation of it. So uh you're not a statistic.
I couldn't find the right
But
word.
yeah, yeah. But I always say that like 1 in 5 people live with a mental
Wow.
illness. And that statistic, I guess, is out there to make it more common,
Sure.
kind of like a wake up call. Let's talk about a stigma. You were talking about growing up in the 80s previously.
Hmm.
Why do you think there is such a stigma nowadays about mental health?
nowadays, I didn't realize there was a stigma about it. I honestly, I've kind of trapped myself in this house, and I kind of shut my windows, and so I I had no idea that there was a stigma about it. I thought it probably would have been much more talked about now
It
than
is.
it was in the past, which was never, right. No one talked about it before.
Right.
Um, I don't know. Maybe isolation
Yeah.
plays a big part of it. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really tough question.
What do you think about people that come through your stream? I'm sure you see it there, just playing your game and watching the conversation people have.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I definitely see it there. I'm not going to name any names.
No, no, don't do
Or
it.
should
Don't do
I?
it. Don't do it.
No. But no, yeah, I definitely see it there. And you know what? When we do see it, it's kind of like a big red flag sometimes. And what I normally do with big red flags is I tend to grab it and shake it around and talk about it. Like, hey, you good, bro? You want? Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the kids? How's the
Awesome.
family? So,
You do
I
do
mean,
that.
I try to. I mean, yeah, it's just I don't know. I think that's how I'm wired. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that because
Yeah.
you're very relatable and you're just a fun person. And if you call it out like that, it's easy for people to approach you and talk with you. So thank you for
Absolutely.
doing that.
Absolutely.
All right, the last question that I have is how do you think we as a community, online community, real life, can help people who are suffering or living with mental illness or mental momentary disturbance?
Conversations help, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because me dealing with my own stuff, and I told you I haven't seen help yet. I haven't gone in to speak to anyone yet, but what I would like is a quick phone call. Hey, how you doing? Oh man, you have no idea how good it feels to just get a phone call and just for somebody just to hear you say something. Just listen to me, just hear me out. Um and a lot more conversations, even random phone calls or text messages. I think that's huge. Uh Another thing is shifting conversations, like that specific conversation. If you're gonna ask me how I'm doing, let me answer it,
Yes.
that's and I'm very conscious about that. So whenever I'm talking to somebody, I try my best to just isolate myself from the picture. Period. If I'm asking you how you're doing, I don't ask me how I'm doing. I'm here strictly just for you. I just want to know what you're doing, how you're feeling. What did you eat yesterday? Let's talk about it. How did you make it? Because I might want to make it. Is I think that's a really big thing. Sometimes these conversations need to be just one sided.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It's important for people to be heard, especially if they feel isolated or alone.
sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Hey, how are you doing? People walk down the road and it's so cliche.
Right.
I had somebody pass me when we were doing back to school shopping. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. How are you? Just kept walking. I'm like,
All right.
I hate that. I hate that. All right. So in closing, is there anything that you would like to say or add to the conversation?
um so Hawaiian again. I think that's the 14th time I've said that. But as my culture growing up was everything. Affection is everything in the Hawaiian culture. We're very affectionate, emotional culture creature, just by nature. And so we really didn't. So it was a big culture shock to move to the, as my family would call it, the America, to the States. It was a big culture shock because what we do in Hawaii is we greet, and I know a lot of people do it up here too. We greet with a hug and a kiss, or honi as we say in Hawaii. But if you're at a party with 500 people, which is common in Hawaii, um, on your way out you need to say goodbye to all 500 people. If not, you will get slapped in front of everyone. But that's how much of an affectionate culture we are. So that being said, I think a lot of that, even a little bit of that, can go a long way in this in society nowadays. You know, maybe not a kiss because COVID, um, but just a lot more affection. So, which brings me to two words: aloha. One phrase my dad always used to say growing up was respect is respect is earned, right? Not given. And he'd always finish every single phrase, saying, or whenever he's preaching or when he's a teach moment, he'd always finish it with "but aloha first, aloha always." Aloha first meaning show your love, and then you will get it back, no matter what. Aloha always meaning it doesn't matter how pissed off, sad, frustrated, hungry you are, keep showing your aloha. So that's definitely one thing that I think the world would be a much easier, and I think it would be a lot more fun instead of everyone walking around with a stick up there just with
I
that one
love
thing.
that. That's
And
amazing.
the last one is mana'o. That's one word that we tend to use a lot in Hawaii, mana'o, which is how do you translate that? Mana'o is more understanding. So like a in-depth understanding. So that's another thing, and compassion. So if we can show a lot more understanding and compassion, we're all the same. Everyone is exactly the same. We're all walking the same steps. Maybe some have a little longer stride than others, but we're all trying to get to the same destination, in my opinion. So if we show a little bit more understanding, a lot more compassion, I think we can get through almost damn near anything, you know.
That is an amazing
So
closer. I think we're going to end there if you're satisfied with that.
sounds
Thank
good.
you so much for your willingness to do this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. See you later, Joe.
All right, girl. Thanks.